Chris, is it starting to look like Lonzo is becoming that star we expected?
Look, I've said it before. I think Lonzo has been treated very unfairly. People have said he's a bust. I'm like, they were saying he was a bust in like his second month in the NBA.
Yep.
I mean, what are you thinking? Exactly. And it's been because, and I don't want to put all the blame on his dad. I'm not saying this as a negative. It is what it is. His dad's bluster, his dad's braggadocio, his dad's antics put a target on Lonzo's back, not just from players, not just Patrick Beverley and guys that went at Lonzo, but from the media and fans, meaning people expected way too much of him. They expected, LaVar said, he's going to be an all-star in his first year. He's going to lead the Lakers to the playoffs his first year. Magic Johnson joined in. Save some of my records, Lonzo. And let me say this. As great, no matter how great Lonzo becomes, he will never be Magic Johnson. He's not a Magic Johnson player. I think at best, he's a Jason Kidd, which is great. That's a Hall of Famer. That's a guy that got to 2 finals, three finals, won a championship. So that would be great if he's Jason Kidd. But he's not going to be Magic. But because of those expectations, people looked at his struggles in the first 2 months and said, he's a bust, and like he was a 3-year veteran or something.
And people were rooting against him, period, point blank, because of the dad. The people, there are, not everyone, but there were some people that had such distaste for LaVar that they wanted. LaVar was out in Lithuania doing his Facebook show, the guy they could take it out on, the guy we could discuss every day was Lonzo. And Lonzo did struggle early. Early on, he was the least efficient offensive scorer in the league. In the paint, outside the paint, from three-point line, there was a period in time where it looked like Lonzo just had lost his ability, not to the Markelle Fultz level, but lost his ability to shoot the basketball. But I want to show the audience, like, look at his first 24 games to the last 15. Look at the shooting percentages. 44% from the field for a rookie is fine.
Yep.
42% from three for anyone is outstanding. Now, I don't think he's really a 42% three-point shooter, but that's over the last 15 games. Yep. Compare that to what he was the first 24, where he was less than 32% from the field, less than 25% from three. So he has markedly improved. But here's the other thing, Chris. Even with the whole season, even with the first 24 games, he's giving you 10, 7, and 7 a night.
Yep.
In NBA history, here's the list of rookies to do that. Oscar, Magic, Ben Simmons, and Lonzo. So prior to this year, only Oscar and Magic had ever, as rookies, given you 10, 7, and 7. Penny didn't do it. Kidd didn't do it. LeBron didn't do it. So he is helping you other places. And you mentioned it when we played one of the highlights, where he has surprised me and where he didn't get any credit even early in the year, or especially early in the year, is as a defender. I thought he would be an enormous defensive liability because despite his length, he doesn't strike me as overly athletic, overly quick. I thought he would get put in the torture chamber by some of the great point guards in the West. He has been, you said a coach said he might be their best defender?
Yep. And he's not going to be a lockdown defender. There are guys that have gone off on him this year, but he has the instincts. He's long. He can get in passing lanes. He can get deflections. We see on this highlight, he can get steals. When he double teams you, that's a 6'7" point guard who's long double teaming you. So he has been a good defender. Here's the thing. You mentioned his stats, which that does tell a story. That says something. But this is the type of guy, you're not going to judge him just by his stats. You may not even judge him mainly by his stats. It is what he does on the floor. It is the culture change that he brings. It's the unselfishness that he brings, where not only is he making the extra pass, but other guys are making the extra pass. That is what Lonzo Ball brings. Now, he's got a couple things he's got to work on. He's got to continue to be aggressive all the time. Not just, there were times early in the year where he just didn't, he looked like he was a lollygagging, like he wasn't even into the game. Stay aggressive. Jason Kidd couldn't shoot, but was always aggressive. Shot well late in his career, but earlier couldn't shoot, was always aggressive. He has to do that. Ben Simmons is getting in the lane constantly. The second thing, the three-point shot is fine. The mid-range jumper he's got to develop. And I know people, the mid-range isn't a big part of the game anymore. You need a threat of a mid-range. Because one reason when he either has to go all the way to the hole or he's got to shoot a three. You need that in between. So when he drives off the three-point line, people don't know, is he going to pull up or is he going to keep going all the way? That will help him become a better finisher because people won't know what he's going to do.
And we also, this is the first impression bias. After the first month of the year, here's what everyone knew. Jason Tatum, future star. I heard Celtics fans telling me, you know, even if the Pelicans want to trade Anthony Davis, I'd do it, but I don't want to include Tatum. Like, people were, Jason Tatum should have been the #1 pick of the draft after a month. Also after a month, Lonzo. I mean, is he even going to make his second contract?
Unbelievable.
By the end of this year, if we do a blind stat test, which I'm known to do, of Tatum's year-end stats versus Lonzo's year-end stats, it's going to be a coin flip on who you'd rather have. Because Tatum hit a bit of a rookie wall while Lonzo started to excel somewhat. And by the way...
And Lonzo's been out, though, too.
Lonzo has been out, but Tatum's also doing it where there's not as much pressure on him, where while they're playing in bigger games, he has obviously a better coach, no disrespect to Luke Walton, and obviously a far better star player on his team in Kyrie Irving. Like, we all got to take a deep breath on this. It is rare a guy does what Donovan Mitchell did, where it comes into the league and basically from start to the finish of his rookie year is awesome. I don't know if Ben Simmons would have done what Ben Simmons is doing as what I would call a true rookie. Because Ben Simmons got to spend a year traveling with a team, learning about the NBA life without having to play. So we all, you know, the question is, will he be a future star? I guess it defines star. I think he'll make some all-star teams. I think he'll be considered one of the top point guards in the league at one point in time. Like, will he ever be the best player in the league? Almost assuredly not, but that's a very short list of guys that have been.
The challenge just for him to make an all-star team will be tough. In the West, it is stacked with players, but especially guards.
Yeah.
And so now, if his thing is going to be winning, that's how you're going to judge him. If they're winning big time and he's averaging 15 points, 10 assists,
7 rebounds,
7 or 8 rebounds, he'll make all-star teams if they're winning. If they're not, he's not going to make them in the West.
And he's got an uphill battle with that dad standing right behind him.
Well, the dad's over in Lithuania right now, so maybe we can focus more on him.
We can focus on his game. All right.
This is the Lonzo that I thought we were going to see when he came out of UCLA. This is the guy that I said I would take #1 overall in the draft. Now, I admittedly didn't see Donovan Mitchell coming. Donovan Mitchell probably is, or assuredly has superseded Lonzo as the surest thing in this draft. But this is why I liked him better than Fultz. It's why I liked him better than Tatum. We always knew his passing would be infectious. There was the passing was going to translate. What we weren't sure about was could he defend at an NBA level because he's not a great athlete. But his defensive instincts and his length have overcome the fact that he's not an overwhelming athlete. And all of a sudden now, his shots come along. Like the first 24 games compared to the last 15 games, this guy has been a different player, shooting over 40% from the floor and over 40% from three in his last 15 games. If he has even a semi-reliable jump shot, the rebounding and the assists that he brings you make him a useful NBA player. And as he evolves, could he become a star? Will he become a star? I think he will. I think the talent and the natural basketball IQ and instincts that you can't teach have always been there for him.
Yeah, he's got the intangibles. And that's why Luke Walton could look at a game like last night when he did fill up the box score, but like you said, double figures in nothing, and still can have a huge impact on the game. The guy who could also do that, Magic Johnson. And I know Magic compared Lonzo to himself. Lonzo's never going to be Magic Johnson, but he can be another guy that could fill up the box score or impact the game with only 2 points, and that was Jason Kidd. And that's what I like with Lonzo. He has gotten more comfortable as the season has gone on. We've seen rookies, you mentioned Jason Tatum, who hit a wall. Jason Tatum played 29 games last year with North Carolina. And then he's played 64, I believe, already. That's 2 college seasons for him. That's not just 1. So he has fallen off a little bit. Lonzo's getting strong now. He was injured, so he's rested a little more. But look at the first 24 games. I think we have it on the graphic. 8.5 or almost 9 points a game, but 32% from the field, 24% from three, and that's what everybody was killing him on.
Yeah.
Look at it over the last 15. 44% from the field, which is pretty good for a rookie. 42% from three, which is great.
For anybody.
At 12.5 points, and he's still been 7 assists, 7 rebounds over that time. So I like what I see with Lonzo. I think he's been great for that team so far on the court.
You mentioned where he needs to get stronger is his mid-range game. That it can't just be threes or to the rim, right? Like that's something that you want to...
I believe that, yeah.
Because
he's not... The thing is, he's not even a threat to go. When he goes mid-range, you know he's not pulling up because of that funky release that he has. So that's a problem. That lets defenses guard you easily because they know, oh, he's going to the hole. If he's inside the three-point line and he's driving, he's going all the way to the hole, and that makes you easier to guard.
We can see the numbers. We can see the improvement, but why? Why has he gotten so much better compared to the beginning of the year?
Man, I think some of it is just adjusting to the speed of the league. I think some of it is a little overwhelming when you are. Man, when this NBA season started, when we're talking about topics for this show, and we were not the only one, it's like, all right, did LeBron do anything? Did the Warriors do anything? Did Lonzo do anything?
Did his dad say anything?
Right, did his dad say anything? He was higher in the hierarchy than Westbrook, than Harden, than Giannis as far as talking points. And these guys hear that stuff. Like, I won't name names, but like we have, while Chris has been on this week, you have NBA stars texting about things people are saying. Like these guys know what's going on. And Lonzo also had the added burden of he was a marked man early. But despite all that, you showed the great stat, first 24 to last 15. But just his season as a whole, he's given you 10, 7, and 7. The entire NBA history, rookies to average over the course of a season, at least 10, 7, and 7. Oscar, Magic, Lonzo, and Ben Simmons. So prior to this year with 2 rookies doing it, it'd only been done twice ever. You're right. He won't be Magic. But being Jason Kidd would be unreal. I mean, that guy he was never an MVP, but he is
could have been one year when Duncan won it. Yep,
almost was an MVP, was the best player on a team that went to back-to-back NBA finals, is one of the 8 greatest point guards ever, if I do the list quickly in my head. And that was the comp coming out of school. If you look at them statistically, their first year, struggles from shooting, it's similar. Like, the Jason Kidd thing, not just because they're both tall, light-skinned point guards. Like, there's the way they play, it really does fit, and that would be a wildly successful career.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.